Amazing. So we're good to go. Can you guys see my whiteboard here? Someone give me a thumbs up. You guys can see the whiteboard if I draw?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. So let's get started. Awesome. So welcome to our Impakt Health System training call. The whole job of this call is to help you guys, educate you guys on our 4 principles and the supporting products on our 4 principles. So, I believe that education equals power. And the more education we have, the more power we have, the more we can lead by example, and it also builds our belief. So you guys already know that with our Impakt Health System, we have 4 principles we teach. And those 4 principles, last week we talked about prioritizing protein. And a lot of you sent me feedback on that call saying that it was really informative. It was eye-opening. You guys finally understood, why protein is important, why Complete is a high-quality product, why to recommend Complete, and why to use Complete. Now, I just want to clarify one thing. I am not a scientist. I'm not a medical doctor. Over time, I have built the knowledge that has built my belief on why our system is powerful and why our products are powerful. And as you log into these calls, you will better educate yourself, because the most important thing, guys, is when you share this information with others, as you're learning in the beginning, you don't want to be saying things that don't make sense at all. Like, for example, people think, oh, if you drink protein, it's for bodybuilders. Not true. That's what the goal of last week's call was to talk about protein. But this week is to talk about, I think my favorite topic is to increase fiber and control your carbs. And really I'm just going to mute the line. Give me 1 second. Someone's unmuted. All right. Perfect. So really, what makes our system unique and our secret sauce to our whole system is this. Also with our omega-3s and our 3rd principle, but there are many companies in the industry with high quality protein. We do have a very high quality protein. I believe we have one of the highest quality meal replacement proteins in the marketplace, which I mean slow and absorbing protein with vitamins and minerals. But there are a lot of proteins in the market, and we do have a high quality one, but this doesn't really differentiate us. And I believe that people can get away by eating food, and they can do it without the Complete if they have the discipline to. I can. Complete is so convenient. I don't have to think about it. I just drink it. I get my protein. But really, it doesn't matter. Even if people are eating salads and bowls and paleo bowls, or they're keto or low carb or doing intermittent fasting or whatever they're doing, every single person can benefit from this principle right here. The products in this principle here. And that's what my goal is today, is to show you guys why. So let's get right into it. So today's goal is to start off by talking about fiber. Why do we talk about fiber? Now, when we talk about fiber, the first thing people think about is, oh, it's good for cleansing. Now, I want to clear one thing. Fiber does help with the colon, but it's not just for cleansing. And if you think you're taking fiber just for cleansing, that is probably just the tip of the iceberg of what fiber actually does. With our principle, you notice that we say increase fiber to control your carbs, not increase fiber to clean your gut. And the reason for that is because fiber has the ability to reduce blood sugar from our food, which reduces our insulin. And this is how nature originally intended food. So I'm just going to show you guys something. We talk about this all the time, but if we go here and you look at my screen, and I show this all the time in our presentations, but if you look at how bananas used to look, and this is on Google, these were what our fruits and vegetables were before we domesticated them. Now, one thing I want each of you to understand is, if you tell someone that this is because of GMO, That's not true. This is from thousands of years of domesticating fruits and vegetables. What that means is this is how it was naturally found on the left. And then as we start to selectively choose and cherry pick the crops that tasted healthier, grow them bigger, add more water in them, we've modified it over years to make it look like this. Now, the banana on the left was high in fiber. And I actually have a client, she's from Bangladesh, and she told me that they still have these bananas in Bangladesh, the ones you see on the left. And she said that they're so hard to chew. She's like, your jaw gets sore trying to chew it, and you're constantly having to spit out the seeds. She's like, it's so frustrating. So think about it. As humans, we like things that are convenient and easy to do. So that's why it makes sense that over thousands of years, we modified our bananas to make it like this. But this banana has no fiber and it's all sugar. This banana was how nature originally intended it, which is all fiber and very little sugar. So that's just bananas. But even if you look at peaches, the one on the left was the original peach in 4000 BC. It was the size of a quarter. This peach was like all fiber. The peach that we see today, or we're eating today, has been modified, again, through selective breeding, through domestication, where the peach today is mostly water, there's a lot more sugar in it, and there's very little fiber. And here's another one that's really eye-opening, carrots. This was original carrot. So not the carrot that Bugs Bunny, you see Bugs Bunny eating, these carrots. They've been domesticated to be like this, but that was the original carrot, which was pretty much a root. And you can imagine trying to eat this carrot was bitter. It must have been hard to chew and very hard to cook. And then the last one I'll show you is if you look at how corn used to look, this is eye-opening too. This was corn. There's 4 or 5 kernels on a corn stalk, not the corn that we have today, where there's hundreds of kernels on a corn stalk. And we have so much production of corn, and we're just feeding animals corn, which are getting fattier. And so this is what's happened to our fruits and vegetables. So if I go here back to our whiteboard. Now, if you think about our fruits and vegetables from before, our fruits and vegetables from before had, give me 1 second. I just lost the whiteboard. Our fruits and vegetables from before had what? A lot more fiber. And also there was less sugar. Now, I'm not going to, the key in our organization, guys, is we should be professional. We're not going to go around to people telling them, oh, the world's trying to kill us and the world is evil and they're making things more sugary to destroy us. What it really comes down to is profit. Right? And what is in the best interest of the food company? A, to make food more tasty. And to make it more tasty, what do? They reduce the fiber and increase the sugar. This is even our apples, our blueberries, all these foods. You got to think about it, guys, is that it's all about profit. And profit where we can supply to the masses. The second thing, if you look at how a grocery store or a farmer makes money, how do they make money? On crop yield or weight. When you go and buy apples in the grocery store, you're paying, let's say, $4.99 for a pound of apples. Now, it's in the best interest of the food industry to make our fruits and vegetables bigger so they can charge us more money and make more profit. So no one here is trying to kill humanity or anything like that. It's all about this, guys. Well, because of this, what happens is our food quality has been neglected. Our food quality doesn't have the same amount of nutrients. The farmer does not make money on this. The farmer makes money on the weight of the vegetable and on the yield of the crop. So why I'm spending my time talking about this, guys, is because as we go out and we share this to people and we educate people, I don't want, as impactors, that we're going around saying, oh, the world, it's a conspiracy theory and Illuminati and the world's out here to kill you. It turns people off. It doesn't come off professional. And it quite frankly sounds a little out there, you know, about being professional. If you explain this, what I just explained here, when it comes down to profit, it makes more sense. Now let's talk about why fiber. Why is fiber even important? Why did God or nature add fiber in our fruits and vegetables to begin with? Well, it all comes down to this. And we talked about this before, but I'm going to spend some time talking about it, is that our body has two sources of fuel to use: fat and glucose, which is sugar. Now, the problem is our body, because of our modern diet, which is what? Low in fiber, low in protein, high in sugar. And that's if you're just eating fruits and vegetables. But what are most people eating? Processed, junk food with preservatives. So what that does is our glucose spikes up, our insulin spikes up. And remember, when insulin is present, it's called a fat storing hormone. So you're unable to burn fat. And so you end up becoming this machine that cannot use fat at all. And now if you talk to people in the gym, if you start Googling, everyone's talking about doing keto, everyone's talking about doing low carb. But the reality is this is not sustainable. And quite frankly, unrealistic for a lot of cultures. Like what? Italian, Indian, Persian. I mean, you can still do it. It requires a lot of willpower. It requires a lot of discipline. But like, let's look at my 83-year-old grandfather. He's 83. And today he's healthier than ever. But imagine I told him, no more Indian food, no more roti, no more lentils, no more chickpeas. All you can eat is, he's vegetarian. So based on being a vegetarian Indian, he can't even do this. And this is completely out of the question. It's funny, my mom, many of you know, she's vegetarian Indian as well. And she started looking into keto, and she comes home one day after work, after Googling it, and she's like, I cannot even do this. There's nothing to eat for a vegetarian Indian. So in those instances, what do? What do we tell those people? We can't tell them to cut out carb. So we tell them that with their carb, they add fiber. And the reason is because fiber reduces the sugar impact of the food. So if you think about our fruits, how God naturally, or nature naturally intended our fruits and vegetables is to be high in fiber. Because what fiber does, fiber looks very similar. I don't know if this is even how it looks. It doesn't matter how it looks. It looks very similar to sugar. Now, just like friends, we like to hang out with people who are similar to us. Well, just like that, fiber and sugar are very similar in how they look, in their structure. So they attach together in our digestive system, and the fiber ends up getting excreted out of our system or slowly absorbed in our body, rather than spiking up when you drink fruit juice or have something low in fiber. Now, does that make sense? If anyone has any questions, feel free to unmute and ask before I move on to the next part. So the whole goal of fiber in our fruits and vegetables in our food is to reduce sugar. Now that's the first part. Second, fiber, what everyone thinks of is cleanses your colon, which is partially true, and this is insoluble fiber. But there's other benefits to fiber, which we'll talk about. Now, you can eat fruits and vegetables that are high in fiber. So raspberries, broccoli, cauliflower. Now, what I challenge each and every single one of you is measure how much fiber do you need to get from broccoli to get 35 grams of fiber per day, which is what is recommended by the American Heart Association, which is also recommended by many nutritionists, is that 30 to 40 grams of fiber, so about 35 grams of fiber a day. How do you get that from broccoli? Well, let's take a look at it. So if we go here and we go on here, we type up nutrition facts, broccoli. Well, it looks like I'm spelling broccoli wrong. But let's see here. 1 cup chopped broccoli, guys. 1 cup has 2 grams fiber and 2 grams sugar. So that's fine. Don't worry about the sugar content, but 2 grams of fiber. So if you have to eat 35 grams of fiber a day, that means you have to eat 16 cups of broccoli. Now, I don't know about you, but quite frankly, that's not that realistic for me. I can't sit there eating broccoli all day. So that's where our Impakt Health system comes up, where we have the products which are all high in fiber. Even our complete, depending on the formula you drink, has between 4 to 5 grams of fiber per serving. But the most important products that we have in our system are these products. Lifiber, BioSlife, Balance, which we have 2 versions of. We have the cholesterol. Sorry, don't mind my spelling, guys. And we have the glucose. And then the last product we have in our fiber line is the BIOS 7. So let's talk about what makes each of them unique, what makes them different. Let's start with Lifiber. Lifiber is a high quality, soluble and insoluble fiber with 29 herbs to support your gut. What I like to call this is the toothbrush for your colon. That's what Lifiber is, in my opinion. And I just want to show you this. If you guys want to learn about the products, about what the product does, if you go to Unicity, shop.unicity.com, and you click USA, over here it talks about what the product does, but they have product profiles on the product. So over here it talks about it's a high quality dietary fiber for gastrointestinal health. And what makes Lifiber unique is that it's a combination of soluble and insoluble fibers. So what's soluble? So over here, if you look at it, there's psyllium husk, there's citrus pectin, there's hibiscus flower, there's guar gum. So those are the fibers in it, and then the rest of these are all herbs, which are there to support your digestive system, which we do not get consistently every single day in our diet. I know I'm not getting dandelion root, corn silk, chickweed leaf, cayenne fruit, buchu leaf. So because I'm not getting consistently in my diet, I just take this 1 to 2 scoops every single day, and I make sure that I get it for my colon. Now, this is a great product to introduce people to as well. Why I like Lifiber is because it's simple to use. It's not it's not hard to mix. It's pleasantly tasting. You could throw it in the complete. Now, but if you have someone who has a cholesterol or a glucose problem, or they have something like they want to lose weight, Lifiber might not be the best one to start them on. Lifiber is a great step one for someone who's never used fiber in their life. But what I would introduce people to is the BioSlife Balance line. And let's talk about that. So we have Balance. Now Balance is it is a BioSlife formula. What that means is BioSlife is what Unicity is known for. This is really what makes Unicity unique. Unicity has sold over $4 billion of BioSlife. There is no competition to BioSlife in the market, period. And there's 2 versions. There's 3 versions if you look at the US. There's BioSlife C, That's not available in Canada, but we have balanced cholesterol, which is pretty much the exact same thing. It's for the cholesterol. And then we have balanced glucose. Now, what makes these unique? So let's go here. Share, desktop. I want you guys to understand what is the difference between the two. So if you look at over here, this is Unicity Balance. Unicity Balance has all your fibers in here. So it has a biosphere fiber, which is patented by Unicity. Then it has the Unicity 7X in it, which is more fibers in it. And what makes it thick is this calcium carbonate here. This calcium carbonate, when you mix it with water, it gets it thick and it forms a gel in your stomach and expands to 5 to 7 times the size of a regular fiber, guys. Then what the balanced cholesterol has, which the other ones do not, is the BIOS cardio matrix, which is your phytosterols, your polycosanols, your chrysanthemum morifolium. These are ingredients that help to reduce cholesterol. So what BIOS Life does, BIOS Life reduces cholesterol in 4 ways. And if you Google this, as I'm Googling it right now, you guys can see it right here. So there's 4 ways that BIOS Life reduces cholesterol. And this is patented, and it's the exact same mechanisms as the pharmaceutical drugs do, but BIOS Life has 0 side effects. So think about that. The first one is it helps to block the reabsorption of cholesterol in the intestinal tract. So number 1 is right here. The reabsorption of cholesterol, it blocks the absorption of it with these ingredients, which I was showing you right here. Right there in the BIOS cardio matrix. The second thing it does is it helps to block the absorption of cholesterol, which comes directly from food. And you guys can read more about this. And what they recommend is that foods contain at least 0.65 grams of phytosterols. See, the good thing is when you're taking BIOS Life, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. I mean, just think about if you had your phytosterols, your polycosanols, the person would need a full-time job trying to calculate all these foods they need. With BIOS Life, all the headaches are gone. The third, it reduces cholesterol produced by the liver, and it talks about it here, how it does it. And the fourth thing it does, it enhances the breakdown and removal of LDL cholesterol, which is the bad cholesterol. And that is with the chrysanthemum morifolium. So those ingredients all work together in 4 different ways to bring down cholesterol, guys. And so if you actually go to bioshealth.com, this is a great website. You can read all about it. It talks about the health benefits. It talks about how BIOS Life helps to reduce cholesterol. But if you want to see another thing is that unicityscience.org. So Unicity, since the 1990s, has been running clinical studies on BIOS Life. And not just at Unicity, but they have clinical studies from some of the biggest hospitals in the world. So this is one study that they showed here, what it does for LDL, which is the bad cholesterol, the HDL, how it brings it up, and the ratio. There's another study here, which I'm trying to open up. So these are all abstracts. Can't find it right. I think it's this one here. Oh, it's saving on my computer and opening up. So there's one that they did at the Cleveland Clinic. So this is another one done by the company. But if you go through here, you can find one done by the Cleveland Clinic. You can find the newest one that they did was a big study, was done in Indonesia at a government hospital. This study, what they had people do, because sometimes what people think is that, oh, it's just in my mind. Because I'm drinking it, it's working. I don't know if the product's working or not. Well, Unicity has placebo studies done. What that means is that they have participants and the people giving the product, they have them giving the actual product. And then another group, which they do not know about, is taking a product that looks the same but does not have the same ingredients in it. So you can remove any of the mental factor, placebo factor they call it, on the product. And if you look here, in 6 weeks, that was the LDL reduction. And in 10 weeks, that was the LDL reduction. And so the placebo was like It was like a corn-based fiber, like a benefiber or something similar to that. So that's what they noticed, is that the BioSlife reduced the cholesterol drastically. It also increased the HDL. It reduced the ratio, and the stars means it was a significant reduction. It reduced the total cholesterol in 10 weeks. It reduced the triglycerides, and it reduced this thing called apolipoprotein B. So that is the BIOS balance cholesterol. Now the BIOS glucose, what that has is that doesn't have any of the cholesterol reducing ingredients in it. It still has the fibers in it, all the fibers that are found in the balanced cholesterol. But what this fiber has is this fiber has something in it called Nutrifiber. It's another fiber in it, which is why the balanced glucose is thicker. And what they found in their clinical studies is that when they ran a clinical study with, and this is a big deal, guys, is they ran a clinical study with the University of Sydney. Now, some of you may know of something called the glycemic index. Glycemic index is the measure of how much your sugar and your insulin rises from your food. And it talks about it here. But if you go to glycemicindex.com, check this out. University of Sydney is the university. The scientists there are the ones that discovered the glycemic index. So what Unicity did in 2011 is they sent the BioSlife glucose to scientists at University of Sydney to study what it does. And what they did in this study is they had people eat white bread, and then they measured their blood sugar, and this was healthy people. And then they had them take 1 serving of balanced glucose, and they saw a 20% reduction in their blood sugar, and then 2 servings had a 28% reduction in blood glucose. And with the insulin levels, they had a 13% reduction in insulin levels with 1 serving of balanced glucose, and with 2 servings of balanced glucose, 27% reduction in blood insulin levels. So what does that mean to you guys? Well, let's talk about it. We just talked about that we have a product here. Balanced glucose. Give me 1 second, I'm just activating my pen. Okay. Balance. You have balanced cholesterol, which reduces cholesterol. And it gives you all the benefits of fiber. It does have some insulin effect. It's not going to be as strong, but there is some insulin effect because of the fibers, because it forms a gel, and there's vitamins and minerals in it. But the balanced glucose reduces your insulin by 15 to 30% based on 1 to 2 servings, which right here, guys, is crazy. This right here is, as you know, if you've been following the Impakt Health System, insulin is the culprit behind most of the metabolic problems happening in our world today, from heart disease to diabetes to aging. All these problems are being caused by insulin, and we have a product here where people can take it, which was studied on white bread. So what they concluded in this study was that right here, a fiber-rich supplement, BioSlife Slim Glucose, which is the same thing as balanced glucose, decreased the glycemic index of white bread, white rice, and mashed potato. In each case, it reduced the glycemic index from a high glycemic food to a medium glycemic food. Furthermore, it talked about how the fiber supplement reduced the insulin index for all 3 foods following after eating it. And so, guys, one thing I want to share with you guys is that this was done on white bread, on white rice, and with mashed potato, which are some of the foods that raise your insulin levels the highest and your blood sugars the highest. Now, imagine if you have people who are eating brown rice, they're eating multigrain bread, they're eating these kinds of foods, and they take balanced glucose along with their food, well, now you've just kind of bridged the gap to help them keep their insulin levels low. And by keeping their insulin levels low, they're able to combat those big diseases we talk about. So that's the balanced glucose. And now the last one, which is their newest one, is the Bio 7. So the Bio 7 is more of a microbiome type product. What I do with the Bio 7 personally is I take it once a day. I mix it either in my matcha, I can mix in my Unimate. You do not have to take the Bio 7 with food to get the microbiome effect. And we'll do a training on what microbiome is just for time's sake. I don't want to take up too much of your time. But the Bio 7, it still has the fibers. Oh, my screen stopped sharing. Give me 1 second. So the Bio 7 still has all the fibers that are in the other Bios Lives, but it has another blend in there for the microbiome, which what Unicity's science said is that it took them 4 years to go through 300 different ingredients to find the proprietary blend that increased the microbiome of the gut and the gut bacteria through this blend right here. And they have the fibers in there. So the fibers helps to feed the gut bacteria. There's many benefits of Bio 7, but what I do, and here's how I present all of them. And I'll make it very simple for you guys. So the very first step is it depends on the person's goal. If their goal is just to increase fiber and nothing else, I introduce Lifiber. It's $45. You get 45 servings. And they get 4 different fibers in there and 29 herbs. Now, if someone's goal is weight loss, and usually accompanied by weight loss, they have a cholesterol problem, or they have a glucose problem, or they have some other problem. So based on that, I would recommend balance. And now you guys know that balance is 99 Canadian for 60 servings or 70 Canadian for 60 servings with the best U-Pack, which in my opinion is the best value anybody can get. And everybody should be on protein. There's no reason that you guys should be recommending balance and the person is not eating a high protein breakfast. Because if they're not having a high protein breakfast, well, then they started their morning with the insulin spiked up. You want to make sure that their insulin is steady so that their body doesn't have high insulin levels all day. And that's why the protein is important. So this pack is a great pack. And with that, you can recommend the balanced glucose, the balanced cholesterol. What I do, I take 1 cholesterol with my low carb meal, which is usually my lunch. And I take 1 glucose with my high carb meal, which is usually dinner for me because I like to eat with my family. You see, for me, guys, what the most important thing is sustainability. And because I'm not going to sit there cooking my own food and not eat with my family, I would take the balanced glucose with my family. Now, if I go out and I have something that is meaty or fatty and high in carb, what I do is I take 1 glucose before or after, and then 1 cholesterol after my meal to sandwich it. And the reason why is because I know what the effect of the food is doing to my body, so I mix the two. Now, step 3 for people is when I start to introduce Bio 7. So once they're used to fiber or they have some fiber in their diet, or if they specifically have a gut problem, I introduce them to Bio 7. And what I tell them to do is to take 1 Bio 7 per day. If they want, they can mix it with balance with their meal. It'll give them a little bit of a glucose effect. Or they can mix it with matcha, which tastes delicious. They can mix it with Unimate, or they can mix it in the complete. And they get the microbiome effect, which we'll spend some time talking about what the benefits of microbiome are. But this can be taken anytime. You do get some glucose benefit because of the fibers that I showed on the ingredients, but for the microbiome effect, you can take this any time you want. So guys, I hope you guys see that this is exclusive to us. There's over 100 clinical trials on it. And that it's patented. There is nothing like it in the market. Now, for the last couple minutes, I want to leave you with a couple Q&A people ask. One question people ask is, oh, if I take this, my body will become dependent on digestion. Or if I take this, my body's not going to absorb my vitamins and minerals from my food properly. I want you to think about that for a second. If you think by taking fiber, your body's not going to absorb vitamins and minerals, that means your body doesn't absorb any vitamins and minerals from broccoli. It doesn't absorb any vitamins and minerals from your fruits and vegetables. If you eat carrot, if you eat high fiber bread, your body's not absorbing vitamins and minerals. That is absolutely false. The only thing fiber attaches to, guys, is glucose, because glucose and fiber have a very similar structure, so they attach together. The fiber does not affect your vitamins and minerals, and it doesn't affect the absorption of it. Also, if you're using complete, if you're using balance, if you're using matcha, you already have enough vitamins and minerals to worry about any sort of absorption problem. The third thing I want to leave you guys with is that there is no such thing as too much fiber. You necessarily cannot have too much fiber in your diet. It's near impossible to get even, we had ancestors that were eating 100 to 150 grams of fiber a day, and they were doing absolutely fine. If you're using all these products, even if you use balance 4 or 5 times a day, you're not getting close to enough, you're not getting close to any sort of upper limit for too much fiber, and your body will just excrete it. So I hope this shows you guys the power of the BIOS Lifeline, the power of Lifiber, the power of Bio7. It clarifies some questions for you. Now, I do encourage each of you to come to our event on Saturday. We have the Vice President of Unicity, Clayton Barton. He's going to be there. He's going to be talking about the science behind Unicity's products, the manufacturing. It's going to be an amazing event. We're going to have some recognition. We're giving some snacks and samples will be provided in terms of snacks. Because it will be a training after the health portion for our impactors. We'll be giving free LC snap bars. We'll be giving Matcha Focus, Matcha Energy, Unimate. You guys will be taken care of. It's going to be an amazing event. If you haven't got your ticket, make sure you get it. I'll put the link in the WhatsApp group. And if you have guests coming, message me. You can use the promo code to get your guests to our event for free. But I'm excited for this weekend. It's going to be an amazing weekend. It's an amazing weekend for Impakt, the Impakt Life, for our organization, for our system, the support, the sponsorship from Unicity. It's going to be amazing. And this is just the beginning of something that's going to change the world, guys. With these 4 principles, we can put a dent in the healthcare system, in how people think about health, in how people think about living healthy and having more energy. And it starts